All right, let's get into it. We're going to be talking about one of the most mysterious and, frankly, one of the most influential figures in all of modern finance, David E. Shaw. He's this billionaire scientist who pretty much invented the modern quant hedge fund. But he operates almost completely in the shadows.
Exactly. And that's the part that gets me. This isn't some whiz kid who grew up on a trading floor. We're talking about a computer science professor. So how in the world did he end up completely rewriting the rulebook for Wall Street?
Well, his path was anything but conventional. If you trace his journey here, you see he gets his PhD from Stanford in computer science, becomes a professor at Columbia, and he's researching these massively parallel supercomputers. Finance wasn't even on his radar. And then, sometime in the mid-'80s, Morgan Stanley came knocking.
And this quote gets right to the heart of his entire vision. See, when he got to Morgan Stanley, they were just kind of dipping their toes into automated trading. But Shaw, coming from this world of supercomputing, he saw something way, way bigger. He realized you could use all this computing power to find these tiny, almost invisible patterns in the market that no human trader could ever possibly spot.
That is just wild. So while everyone else is, reading the newspaper and making calls based on their gut, he's already thinking about how to get a machine to find these hidden signals in the data. He literally saw the future of trading.
He really did. And you figured out pretty quickly that he could do it way better on his own, without the red tape of a big bank. So in 1988, he makes the leap. He decides to build his own firm from scratch, and it's all based on this totally new philosophy for how Wall Street should work.
He manages to pull together a seed investment of $28 million to get things started.
Okay, $28 million is a lot of money to me, but to launch what would become a Wall Street empire? Looking back, that actually feels surprisingly small.
It was. But see, his real capital wasn't money. It was intellectual. His whole approach was just revolutionary. You can see the contrast right here. While all the traditional firms were scooping up MBAs, Shaw was hiring PhDs in physics, computer science, and math. He didn't care about Wall Street experience. He wanted pure, first principles problem-solving genius. He just replaced gut instinct with data-driven algorithms. Hold on. Is this where Jeff Bezos fits into the story? I feel like I heard he worked there way before Amazon was even a thing. Yep, that's the one. And it's the perfect example of the kind of non-traditional talent he was after. Bezos was a computer science guy, worked at D.E. Shaw from 1990 to 94. Shaw was literally building a team of brilliant outsiders.
And the results, they were immediate and they were absolutely staggering. Within just a few years, the firm was a complete behemoth. Get this. On some days, their trading made up 5% of the entire volume on the New York Stock Exchange. That's just an insane amount of activity. They were a total force of nature.
But, no strategy works forever. After about a decade of just incredible success, the firm came face to face with its first huge test during the global financial mess of the late 90s. What happened was Russia defaulted on its debt, and it sent these shock waves through the entire system. For D.E. Shaw, their strategies that involved borrowing a ton of money to bet on bonds just got obliterated. The firm's capital just plummeted. It went from $1.7 billion all the way down to $460 million. It was a brutal, near-death experience for them. Wow, that is a massive, massive drop. It just goes to show you, even the smartest people on the planet, with the most sophisticated computer models, can get absolutely humbled by the market when one of these black swan events hits. Right. But here's the thing that defined them. They survived it, they learned from it, and they came back even stronger. That crisis really helped forge the blueprint for the firm's future, and it cemented this legacy of influence, and this is key, deliberate secrecy.
And this might be the most unique part of the whole story. In 2001, David Shaw himself steps back from the day-to-day. He doesn't retire to some private island. He goes back to his first love, science. Today, he actually leads a research group focused on computational biochemistry, using supercomputers to simulate how proteins fold. It has massive implications for discovering new drugs.
Wait, he just left the empire that he built to go back to being a scientist? That is absolutely incredible. It says so much about what was really driving him.
He did, but he left behind this enduring philosophy that still runs through the firm's veins, and it's built on these 4 pillars. Just rigorous research, quantitative precision, disciplined risk management, and intense secrecy. That became the playbook. Before firms like Citadel or 2 Sigma were household names, D.E. Shaw showed them how it was done, how to scale these quantitative edges.
Okay, so let's pull this into the here and now. It's 2026. What can innovators and investors today really learn from his playbook? I mean, is it even possible for a new quant to break through like he did?
Oh, for sure. And his playbook gives us 3 really powerful lessons. First, hire for unconventional brilliance. Just like he did with Bezos. Don't just hunt for finance degrees. Find those amazing minds from physics or comp sci who just see the world differently. Second, you have to build your own tools. The real edge comes from proprietary systems that you control, not some off-the-shelf software everyone else is using. And third, you have to treat a crisis as a chance to get better. That '98 crash was almost fatal, yeah, but it forced them to learn, to adapt, and ultimately to build a much more resilient strategy.
So the big takeaway here is that Shaw's revolution was all about applying a new technology, supercomputing, to an old industry, which really just leaves us with one final question for today, right? In this age of AI and machine learning, a technology that is so much more powerful than what Shaw had to work with, who's the next David E. Shaw? Who is out there, right now, quietly building the next quant empire?